think the one thing that COVID has taught us as brands and marketers is really around the need for agility, being able to understand how customers are thinking, how they prefer to be communicated with, and what the right messaging and mechanisms are is now more important than it's ever been before.
Precision marketing at scale is and will be the challenge for the brands that want to stay connected with their audience. That means they have to make a real focus on meaningful content, meaningful context, in order to be accurate in the consumer life.
In the coming months, we're going to see a very interesting dialectic at play. We've had the thesis of the old world, the antithesis of the pandemic era, and now we're waiting for the synthesis of the post-COVID world to emerge. What stays, what goes, when, and how. Reading this right in 2021 is bound to be a critical success factor.
2020 has been a catalyst for digital marketing. It has allowed the most digitally backward countries to quickly fill the gap that has been built in the last decades. This not just in terms of what we buy online, products and services, but also in the way we consume content. There is no going back, which is why this is a great opportunity. Digital contents are nowadays the center of our life in many different ways, but still there are more opportunities than places.
Hey, Yaron, how are you? We have this virtual event thing today. Are you signing in?
I'm ready. You have to admit me.
Oh, sorry. Gotcha.
Hey, good to see you. How are you?
I'm great. I thought we were kicking off Outbrain Unveil 2021 today.
Yes, we are. Actually, I believe we're live right now.
We're live? Oh my God.
Yes, we're on the air.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to Outbrain Unveil. Thank you for joining us. 2020 was a crazy year for everybody. Outbrain had a record year. We saw more clicks, more users, more engagement.
David, stop. This is the first Unveil ever. It's a big deal. Are we really going to do this as a video call?
Do you want to do this in person?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Okay, let's do it. Hey!
Much better. Hello, I'm Yaron Galai, and I'm one of the CEOs of Outbrain.
Hi, and I'm David Kostman, the other CEO of Outbrain. Thank you for joining us for Outbrain Unveil. We're here to talk about 2021, your challenges, what you need, and all the innovation Outbrain released to help you grow your business in this dynamic landscape. And if there's anything we've learned from 2020, it's to expect the unexpected.
Was it only 12 months? It felt so much longer.
Oh yeah, 2020 was like a technology time machine. Trends that we saw developing slowly through the years became a reality almost overnight. Remote working to remote learning, remote gaming, shopping, dating, socializing. The whole world suddenly all went online, and that had a massive impact on businesses and how they sell, market, and grow their customer base.
Yes, the world went online. But for me, 2020 also highlighted the need for a free and open press, which is something we have always cared about at Outbrain. With the crazy speed of meaningful global events, we have become even more reliant on trustworthy publishers and news sources. Facts matter more than ever.
Social networks are a great way to connect with friends and family, especially with travel restrictions. But it's not a great way to stay up to speed with the latest news. With so much user-generated content, it can be challenging to distinguish real news, fake news, or simply opinions.
We're not going to social networks to find out whether to send our kids back to school or to learn whether the new vaccines are safe. Since the pandemic hit, we've seen traffic on trustworthy publisher sites surging. David, do we have a stat for that?
You know, we have a stat for everything. We saw 60% increase in page views during the height of the pandemic. That means 60% increase in trustworthy publishers' page views. And advertisers always follow the audience wherever the audience goes.
Outbrain has always been committed to the open web, committed to helping publishers engage their audience and grow revenues, to creating an advertising alternative to Google and Facebook, but one that actually supports publishers and journalism and not undermines it. We at Outbrain constantly are coming up with new innovative ways to connect businesses like yours with customers. We believe great advertising is not just about counting impressions and reach, it's also about how customers experience your brand.
And this is where native advertising comes in and why it is the biggest growth category in digital advertising today, and why more and more brands are shifting to native ads. We founded Outbrain over 14 years ago, and over the years, together with you, we created the world's best open web advertising platform.
Your feedback, your challenges, your needs, those have always been our lighthouse. We innovate with you in mind. So today, we wanted to share how we're continuing to innovate with you and for you.
And this is what Unveil is all about. It's about finding different ways, new ways to connect with customers on the open web. It's about challenging the duopoly status quo. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Over the next 25 minutes or so, we'll talk about all the latest innovation from Outbrain that will help your business grow in 2021. It's going to be new, interesting, and fun.
We're thrilled to have Digiday joining us to talk about the state of the industry and predictions for this new year. But first, let's all head down under to Sydney, Australia, where Ayal will kick things off.
Hi everyone, welcome to Sydney. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't know about you, but I really need a cup of coffee. It's been a long year, working from home and pivoting like crazy. I'm tired and I know you feel the same. So you know what we don't need right now? Another overlong event. We'll keep things simple. We'll do it the Outbrain way. Unveil is about the things that you need to start 2021. The things we think will help you succeed. So thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time. I'm confident you'll find it interesting. And trust me, we'll have some fun as we go. No, that's nice. Sydney has some of the world's best coffee. We actually borrowed it from Melbourne. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm happy to put 2020 in my rearview mirror. Last year has changed everything for good. Just think about Christmas shopping. It was all done online. We have winemakers that supply wine to restaurants now selling directly to consumers. Fashion designers that have traditionally distributed through retail shops are now creating online stores. Even automotive companies shifting to sell online. So we buy a car exactly like we would be buying a laptop or a new mobile phone. So what does this mean to marketers? It's all about growing your business by finding customers online. Facebook and Google are two great platforms to do that. But not all of our time is spent searching or following friends on Instagram. We spend a lot of time consuming content in the open web, reading news, browsing videos. So how can we connect with customers in those moments? In 2020, we pushed the boundaries to create new ad experiences, new creative ways to showcase your product and reach customers. Because the native ads with a single image and a headline only go so far. So I'd like to introduce you to Lauren from our New York City office to explain better what we're doing differently. I'll see you later.
Thank you, Ayal. Sydney is one of the first cities on my post-quarantine travel list. Fingers crossed. I think you touched on something really important just now that has to do with our perceptions of advertising. And look, we get it. Most consumers simply do not like advertising. But it's not because they don't like ads. It's often because of how ads are actually delivered. You know what I'm talking about. It's the interruption of your online experience. The frustrating attempt to find the X when all you want to do is get back to the article you were reading. So as marketers, this is our challenge. We need to be present online. We need to find customers online. But our ads aren't going to work if all we do is drive them away. Creative matters. How our ads appear matter. but where they live makes all the difference. And that's where Outbrain native ads come in. In 2020, we created a range of new experiences, balancing the best of both worlds. Engaging for the consumer, ROI friendly for the brand. Now you can add call to action buttons to any format, or bring together multiple images across a carousel, doing double duty of storytelling and interactivity. And we've seen some brands do this beautifully, with realistic panoramic shots or cool how-to highlights. Red Bull is a perfect example, using carousel awesomely this year with its first original series, Drive Me Crazy. Highlighting a new episode with each image, Red Bull saw an average session of 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Not only 96% higher than its goal, but practically unheard of these days. We also have new video formats. My favorite is click-to-watch video. It's a consumer-first video experience that drives 100% viewability because the viewer chooses to play the video. And it's worked extremely well for brands looking for a greater share of voice. Check out femtech brand LV, which used the click-to-watch and outstream formats to break down the barriers of breastfeeding.
I'm a pumper, I'm a feeder, but I'm a human female. Yes, I milk myself, but you don't see no tail.
Their Outbrain campaigns perform better than paid search. And together, we even won the Digiday Award for Best Use of Video, which we're so unbelievably pumped about. Pun intended. Of course, good creative and engaging formats are a must. But we all know ads also have to be interestingly relevant, not simply targeted at me based on high-level demographics such as my age or gender. Consider search and social ads, for example. Both have unique data sets that allow a greater relevance to the consumer, what I'm liking or searching for online. And yet my social self is how I present myself. And while it may be my best self, certainly not my whole self. On the other hand, if I go into my CNN feed right now, they're serving me more content that I'm actually interested in. That's because what Outbrain knows about you goes beyond what you're searching for or what brands you follow. It's the real you, based on the content you're engaging with on the open web, the real topics that matter to you every day. Let me show you my personal interest profile. This is what Outbrain knows about me. At first glance, you see my interests. In a nutshell, news, finance, health. News is clearly a big theme for me. So let's go deeper on that category. Here, you'll see 85% of that news time is politics related. Not surprising if you know me or follow the events in the US. But this is the best part about the profile. Seeing what website links garnered that interest from me. Why do you think I like politics? Oh, because I'm on The Hill, Politico, New York Post, reading politically themed articles. And while the algorithms ensuring positive ad experiences are much more sophisticated on the back end, this is how Outbrain begins to paint a picture of what matters most to the consumers interacting with the sites in our network. And that's the point. Outbrain native ads work better because they are relevant to my actual interests. 2020 certainly expedited the shift of consumers' expectations of brands. And with that shift, 2021 will bring better ad experiences, higher relevance, all with consumer trust at the forefront. And I know this sounds a little corny, but that's really exciting to me. Sending you back to Sydney.
Oh, welcome back. One thing I love about Spotify is Discover Weekly. I used to spend way too much time curating the perfect playlist for every moment. Now, I just relax. Spotify knows what I like, knows what I need, and brings the best music to me. Less work, time saved, it's magic. So how is Lauren? How good are all those new native ad experiences? Native ads are great because they're all about engagement and result. When you have a user landing on your website, you can actually see what they do. You can optimize towards the right action on the page. But optimizing campaigns to drive the right result at the right price is a time-consuming process. And that is time we just don't have anymore. Many clients tell me that this year the expectations for marketing are through the roof. Everyone has to work with fewer resources and deliver stronger results. Doing more with less sounds like an impossible task. So you have to get smarter. Work with smarter tools. Tools that save you time and allow you and your team to be more efficient. You don't just need tools that let you do the job well, you need tools that do the job well for you. Just like Spotify Discover. Tools that save you time. So how can we save you a lot of time in 2021? Here's Veronica to tell you about our latest hits. Veronica?
Hello, I'm here, Ayal. Where else can I go? In 2021, every dollar needs to show a result, and fast. Lauren showed you some great-looking ad experiences to capture audience attention. But how do we convert attention to actions, to sales, to leads, to ensure that each dollar shows results? Oftentimes, getting those results means incredibly tedious campaign optimization. But you told us you need to focus on your client, on your creative strategy, on growing your business, not on tinkering with CPC bids and targeting options to optimize your campaigns. So in 2020, we challenged ourselves to completely revolutionize the way we manage campaigns at Outbrain. At its core, Outbrain is a recommendation system. We predict what to show users based on their interests. This is done automatically through machine learning. So we asked ourselves, can we harness that same power to predict and automatically make campaign decisions based on the likelihood of an app download, a sale, or a registration? Turns out, we can. Conversion Bid Strategy, or CBS, is one of the most exciting things we did in 2020. We completely overhauled Outbrain's optimization engine this year. It's a powerful set of tools that optimize the campaign for you. Think of it like putting your campaign on autopilot. You set the destination with a few parameters, and the machine does the rest. Know your cost per acquisition goal? Simply set your cost per action, and Outbrain automatically optimizes the campaign for you, constantly adjusting cost per click across ads and websites to hit your campaign goal every time, all the time. But not all customers are worth the same, right? So some conversions are worth more to you than others. So another option is to actually define a return on ad spend, a ROAS goal. In this mode, Outbrain's conversion bid strategy is optimizing to maximize the total purchase value. It's a smart way to ensure you get the best return on your campaign, again, without tedious manual adjustments. Though using CBS or setting a ROAS goal definitely reduces the work of campaign optimizations, we built a bit of a hybrid for marketers who actually want hands-on control but don't want to be glued to the campaign optimization screen. We call it OB code. OB code lets you set automatic rules on your campaign. For example, rules for when to increase or decrease daily budget cap, or for when to adjust CPC up or down, or when to pause ads that are getting lots of clicks but not enough conversions. You can even create rules to get an email notification when your campaign is not capping its daily budget. You save precious time, and you can use it to focus on more important things. Conversion bid strategy and OB code are all about better results, faster and with less effort. Let Outbrain's algorithms hit your goals so you can focus on your business. Back to you, Ayal.
Oh, thanks for that. A little mango, lime, pineapple, so much goodness in one cup. Tell you what though, you can't buy these online. In fact, there are many brands that aren't selling online. For them, success in 2021 is about staying top of mind, cutting through the noise and winning attention of consumers. Building awareness for their product and making sure that the customers recognize or remember it next time they're walking down the supermarket aisle or at the mall. And the stakes are higher because you need to make the same impact you made with these ads, only this time on this small screen. So how do we do it? So I want to borrow an old song. Let me take you by the hand and lead you through the streets of London. Faye from our UK team will show you something to help you change your mind.
Thanks, Ayal. Personally, I prefer London's Calling by the legendary Clash. But maybe they haven't reached Australia yet? Talking of noise, we've all become exceptionally good at filtering it out. As audiences, we ignore anything that we don't need. So let's talk about this device? We spend so much time on it. Not only do they run our lives and connect us with loved ones, they're also our go-to in our personal time. On the train, waiting at the dentist, in the coffee shop queue. And every moment is now a mobile moment. Brand advertising comprises that perfect storm of highly visible, beautiful creative in the right moment. But for many marketers, delivering that moment on a mobile screen is a real challenge. Well, marketers, we've heard you, and we have the perfect solution. Enter Native Awareness Plus. It's a new way to build your brand and cut through the noise. While Outbrain's ads usually appear in the content feed, Native Awareness Plus ads appear right in the middle of an article. They're center stage. These ad placements are highly visible and exclusively showcase just one brand, meaning you're not actually sharing that space with any other advertiser. Native Awareness Plus delivers a beautiful, rich experience. Full-width vertical images, gallery, or a video. It supports any creative that you have. And it's a native ad, which means it's much more impactful than a banner ad. It shows your logo. You can add a description text for context, and you can even add a call to action button to garner engagement. Let's take a look at a brand in action. So instead of running the same old banner ads, Hugo Boss chose Native Awareness Plus. It hosted beautiful creative and packs in a lot more information. And that's why it gets noticed. How could we tell? People actually clicked on it. So unlike traditional display, where so much of it isn't seen, let alone clicked on, our click-through rate was in fact 4 times stronger than a traditional banner ad. For a premium brand like Hugo Boss, context is everything. And these ads only appeared on premium, reputable websites. In a social feed environment, you have no control over brand safety. And think about the experience in a social feed. The speed of scrolling means that we experience a lot of information, but in a short amount of time. An ad in a social feed appears for around 1.7 seconds before we continue to scroll. The open web experience is different. It's slower, more focused. And Native Awareness Plus ads are in the view for around 7 seconds. This is 4 times more than the equivalent social feed ad. With so many brands running campaigns on social platforms, this is a great way to extend the reach and the impact of these campaigns to new audiences by running native social activities on Outbrain. A click on these ads will take customers directly to your brand account on Facebook or Instagram. And it even supports all the social interactions that we're used to, like adding a comment or a like button. For many brands, capturing mobile moments is best done with a video. And Native Awareness Plus fully supports any video creative that you have. It's highly visible, it's impactful, and it's brand safe. Plus, it's cost efficient. We reached cost per views that are 30 to 40% lower than YouTube or Facebook. Getting attention, real attention, it's a hard task. But this new product is a much more impactful way to do it. So, next time you're about to start a campaign with a banner, a social post, or a video, consider doing things a little differently with Native Awareness Plus. Bye for now.
You know, sometimes having options and choices is great, but sometimes it just makes life more complex. The media landscape is no different. There are many platforms and even more format choices. It's great, but at the same time can be complex. For you to succeed, you need solutions that work the way that you work and not change the way that you buy ads. See? We're connected. In 2020, we invested a lot to ensure that Outbrain is integrated in all the major ad buying platforms. DV360, Xandr, The Trade Desk, or Outbrain's very own Zemanta. No matter how you buy digital media, we made it easier for you to get the results that you need. All right, so much innovation in just 1 year. I'm so excited about 2021. We continue to push the boundaries and offer you more options to tell your story through new ad experiences. Getting results has never been easier thanks to conversion-bid strategy. And we launched a brand new solution for driving awareness. Hopefully, we were able to inspire you with some new ideas for growing your business in 2021. But now it's time for a broader look at where the industry is going this year and beyond. Let's turn to Jim and David from Digiday. I'm signing off now. I'll see you again next year.
Yeah, we're really happy to be here. Hopefully we're going to be able to give you some key trends that we were seeing over the past year in 2020, and then a little bit of a preview for what we're expecting in 2021. It definitely was a dramatic year for the advertising industry, wasn't it?
Correct. I mean, it was certainly a completely unprecedented year in terms of advertising, and a lot of money just went away out of the market. Things like events and all sorts of problems in publishing and in television at the very outset of the pandemic. But very quickly, the industry started to rebound. I mean, we spent a lot of time thinking about the future of monetization and future of revenue, and where the old models of advertising were obviously hugely compromised by coronavirus. Very quickly, sectors like programmatic came back quickly. The streaming and CTV market roared back to life. Publishers did lots of interesting pivots that they would have never tried before around things like subscriptions and commerce and affiliate that really brought in some interesting new revenue plays that they hadn't ever really thought they would sort of do as quickly as they did. 5-month projects became 5-week projects. So there was a huge pivot and a huge sprint to sort of like find new ways to make money, essentially.
And another trend that we saw that was sort of outside of advertisers' controls, and it mapped to a broader, darker trend we were seeing across the industry, was just the number of furloughs and layoffs, right, that the advertising industry encountered. One, I guess, effect of that on the way that buying and planning occurred after that point is that a lot of those teams got consolidated, right? You had buying and planning teams previous to that, which were very channel specific, platform specific, and there were media planning and buying as a result was a little bit fragmented. Procurement teams, I guess, had a major role in that, in keeping that staff low in order to squeeze maximum profit, I guess, out of each and every client relationship.
And this happened across, it's not just for agencies, it happened everywhere where, in the teeth of the coronavirus, when revenue was flying out the door, with things like events canceled, you really had to take a very hard look at your bottom line and where you could make strategic cuts to live to fight another day. It was at the very beginning. It was dark days. It wasn't a happy tale. It's hard to, you can't put a good face on it, but the industry learned a lot from it, I think. Some good, some bad. They also saw that they could function with leaner teams, with more nimble teams, and that was certainly the coin of the realm, going out of second quarter into third quarter, where these teams had to really sort of move quickly and nimbly, and they couldn't wait for a lot of the optionality that they had traditionally waited for, looking for the better deal or waiting for better terms. They just had to move and move quickly to sort of find ways to be creative and fast about creating new revenue streams for these companies.
I know the industry, advertisers and agencies alike, have been racking their brains about this one, and that's the impending death of the third-party cookie. But advertisers really looked like they turned a corner and started to respect users' authentic concern for their data, for their privacy.
It's a real big issue. Some moral and ethical issues around that. But brands and agencies have started to create these solution kits, I would call them, to the sunsetting of the third-party cookie around things like contextual advertising, behavioral advertising, and of course, a lot of these companies have massive amounts of first-party data. So it's going to be sort of a hybrid fix once the third-party cookie goes away. But there are sorts of interesting frankly, quite creative solutions being worked on right now across the media marketing spectrum to make sure that they're connecting with the consumer and the consumer journey in a way that's authentic, that's not invasive or interruptive, using, again, these tools that they're just starting now to really sort of create around the first-party data proposition, as well as contextual and behavioral advertising.
Advertisers have always tried to get as close to possible to that purchase decision. And I think that the emergence of platforms, proprietary platforms often by e-commerce players, has really allowed them to do that in a way that's unprecedented. What are some of the effects of that you've seen in the industry this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think people were where people couldn't shop in person out in the world. They very, very quickly pivoted aggressively towards being able to shop online. Obviously, Amazon had a monster year because of this factor, but there were also all sorts of interesting DTC e-commerce plays that really showed that people were certainly willing to step into this world and purchase brands in a very interesting way. Publishers especially were very nimble, creative, and aggressive about this, and a lot of them really frankly saved their bacon based on their e-commerce and affiliate plays that they really turned the volume up on in the second quarter, and then sort of rode that e-commerce wave into a pretty healthy third and end of the year.
A really interesting year in terms of, even if you look at publishers' coverage, there were lightning rods all over the place, to put it lightly. Obviously, that began with the COVID coverage itself. There were, especially early in this process when this was new, advertisers didn't really want to be associated with that, so they were avoiding environments like news environments that had this sort of content. But then, you get into the summer and you had the Black Lives Matter movement and everything around the death of George Floyd, and advertisers again, some of them, taking a stance, but others just trying to avoid that sort of content altogether. And then even beyond that, you get into the election cycle, and it really just hasn't been a great year for publishers who are covering these dynamic, important issues from an advertising standpoint.
Yeah, it was the ultimate sort of catch-22, and that their audiences hadn't been bigger, maybe ever, but the content that was associated with that audience spike was not very attractive to brands. So the brand marketers were very, very cautious. A lot of them just sort of like, I can't be, I don't know what to do with this, with my brand, so I'm not going to do anything. You had the Facebook boycott in the middle of the summer, which was very telling. Dozens and dozens of brands deciding to sort of take a break from Facebook. Even though Facebook is an incredibly important revenue driver for them, they decided that maybe because of the misinformation and sort of unfettered hate speech on that platform, they would take a break. A lot of them came back, but for the most part, it was a really complicated year for brand marketers to message to consumers in light of the coronavirus, in light of the social injustice, and in light of the election. It was a very toxic year for brand marketing.
All right. Well, on the subject of a very toxic year, let's look at something that's hopefully a little bit more optimistic, or at least forward-looking. Do you want to give us a little bit of your predictions, where you see the year ahead going for the advertising industry?
Sure. I think that the end of 2020 ended on a fairly high note in terms of the health of the companies that we cover at Digiday. But I do think there's a lot of optimism out there. And these companies, again, spent all of 2020 trying to sort of basically hack the coronavirus, hack this massive sea change in how consumers relate to advertising and to marketing and to media. You'll see, again, lots of experimentation, lots of A/B testing across the board, from programmatic, which is having this massive sort of moment right now because they have the flexibility that's very appealing to advertisers. They can buy programmatically and get their dollars down in a way that they have a lot more control. So that's a good example of a market sector that's probably going to have a pretty robust 2021. People think there's a little bit of a bubble there, but we'll have to see. But right now it seems pretty healthy. There's a lot of money flowing into it, and advertisers don't seem to be too concerned about that in terms of their investing. Again, in publishers, it's never an easy business to begin with, but again, they have done a pretty good job of coalescing their subscription businesses with their e-commerce businesses, with their affiliate businesses, and really try to create a much more sort of diversified revenue proposition for them going forward. And then brands are going to, again, have to experiment along with their agency partners to move a lot faster, be a lot more cautious about the consumer, because the consumer has a lot more power than they've ever had before to avoid marketing if they feel that it's inauthentic or in any way sort of antithetical to their personal journey through the media marketing landscape. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a positive year, 2021, but the very beginning of it is going to feel a little bit like deja vu all over again for 2020.
Definitely not out of it, as you said, but there are enough bright spots, I think, to be optimistic about what we're headed toward. All right, well, that's about it. Both what we saw sort of over the past year and what we're looking forward to. But thanks, Jim.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David and Jim. We're all excited to see where the industry goes in 2021. Personally, I hope to see more brands take an even bigger stand to support important social movements. I'm Salma Echahly, Outbrain's first Diversity and Inclusion Officer. At Outbrain, we help over 1 billion people discover content every month, and we understand this influence comes with a great responsibility to accurately reflect the world in which we live through the diversity of our employees, the content we distribute, and the partnerships with brands that share our values. Today, Lauren talked about how advertising can be extremely effective and memorable when done right. This last year, it's been inspiring to see just how many brands took a stand for what they believe in. In hopes of sharing that inspiration with you, here are a few brands that back both their customers and teams genuinely and powerfully. The NBA and WNBA players took a bold stance as part of the Black Lives Matter movement. Their resolve forced conversations which led to the donation of over $300 million to Black communities. This decision to act led all stakeholders, fans, advertising partners, and owners included, to reassess their contribution to ending racial injustice.
This is for the unbreakables.
Coca-Cola also used its immense global platform to support Black Lives Matter, both donating millions of dollars to the Equal Justice Initiative and running purpose-driven ads calling for change through the elevation of Black stories.
Here's to the history shakers.
Nike focused on health and safety amid the pandemic, promoting stay-at-home orders through its Play Inside, Play for the World campaign. The consumer-centric retailer doubled down on socially conscious messaging by transforming its iconic "Just Do It" to "Don't Do It" in response to police brutality. Intel also cut through the clutter by donating tens of millions of dollars in support of the Behind It All campaign, which highlighted the company's work to accelerate access to pandemic response technology that better prepares society for the future. These stories demonstrate the potential for curated advertising content to meaningfully and memorably influence the cultural conversation. At Outbrain, we're working to impact change within our own organization, which has led to a Diversity and Inclusion Council that I'm tremendously proud to lead. We're looking at how we train our managers to lead more inclusively, actively supporting professional development, as well as examining how we're pipelining candidates to expand our reach outside the status quo. Beyond our walls, we've worked with the World Health Organization to globally spread the word on COVID-19 safety precautions and have sponsored a number of Black-owned businesses across our own ad network. We know our work does not stop with the councils or the campaigns. 2021 will prove to be a pivotal year as brands continue to promote sustainable change and extend opportunities to create a more equitable place for all.
Thank you for joining us.
We've been at this for 14 years now. Our core values, our mission, our culture will continue to guide us as we look forward to the next 14 years. We appreciate you spending this time and learning more about who Outbrain is today.
Keep challenging us as we work toward the Outbrain of the future. We'll see you again soon. Who knows, maybe at Unveil 2022. We did it.
Not bad.